Chapter 5 is on ratio, proportion, and similar figures. The essential question is, how can you identify and represent proportional relationships? On page 184, Lesson 5.1 deals with ratios. You'll learn how to write ratios as fractions in simplest form, and you'll also learn how to simplify ratios involving measurements. In the middle of the screen, you'll notice the key concept, ratios. And on your note sheet, please fill in the rest of the words for the definition and the examples on how ratios are written with numbers and how they're written algebraically. At the bottom of page 184, example 1 is expressing ratios in simplest form and then explaining its meaning. So at the bottom of page 184, got it, number 1, it says to refer to the table and express the ratio of the lifespan of a bottlenose dolphin to the lifespan of a mouse as a ratio in simplest form. And the order of the words in the question is important because if it's asking for the ratio of bottlenose dolphin to mouse, it would be 30:3. But if it was asking for mouse to bottlenose dolphin, it would be 3:30. In this case, it's bottlenose dolphin to mouse. That would be 30:3. And in simplest form, it means 10:1. And we can write that with a colon, or we can write that with the word to, or we can write that as a fraction. And the meaning is, for every 10 years of a bottlenose dolphin, there is 1 year for a mouse. Please make sure you fill in those on your note sheet and also explain the meaning. On the next page, 185, example 2, we're looking at taking the ratio and expressing it as a fraction in simplest form, also explaining its meaning. So 15 out of 100 campsites at a campground are reserved for campers with pets, and that ratio would be 15 out of 100. And in simplest form, we're just talking about reducing a fraction, and so 5 goes into 15 3 times, and 5 goes into 120 times. And so in simplest form, it would be 3 out of 20. And again, you can write that as 3 with a colon, 20, or you can write that with the word 2. So 3:20. And it says that those are the ones reserved for pets. So the meaning is 3 out of 20 campsites at a campground are reserved for campers with pets. At the bottom of page 185, we're looking at example 3, and it says to express the ratios as a fraction in simplest form. This time we have to pay attention to the labels on the ratio. In this case, 8 ounces to 3 pounds. We're going to convert to the same unit and then reduce. So for got it number 3, it says express the ratio of 15 inches to 1 foot as a fraction in simplest form. We can put 15 inches, and in the denominator or in the bottom portion of our ratio, 1 foot is equal to 12 inches. And then once we have both of them in the same unit, we can reduce. 3 goes into 15 5 times, and 3 goes into 12 4 times. And so our ratio in simplest form is 5:4, or 5:4, or 5:4. Make sure you write all 3 of those forms on your note sheet. Taking a look at a couple more problems from lesson 5.1 on ratios, page 186, number 22, it says a department store conducted a study to determine what age groups shop in its stores. For letter A, the ratio of people 0 to 17 compared to the people 18 to 30. So we're looking at this number here, 25 to 75. Go ahead and write that in on your note sheet and reduce that for number 22A. For 22B, it's saying express the ratio of people 30 or under. So that would be both of these numbers here combined compared to 30 or 31 and over. So combine those two and write that fraction of this sum over this sum, and then in simplest form. And then letter C is asking for the ratio of people 18 to 30, so we're looking at 75, and the total number of people. So then you're looking at all of these numbers added up. Go ahead and hit pause on the video to work those problems out, and when you're ready, press play to check your answers. For 22A, you should have gotten 1/3. 25 over 75 reduces to 1/3. In B, you should have gotten 75 plus 25 is 100, and 54 plus 26 is 70, and 10/7 is the reduced of that fraction, but that's not what we got here, so I must have made an error somewhere in my calculation. 30 and under would be these two numbers, which is 100, and people over the age of 30, so that would be these two numbers. Oh, that's why I misadded. 54 plus 26 is 80, and so that reduces to 10 over 8, which further reduces to 5 over 4. So this is the correct answer. And letter C, when you add those numbers up and use the 75 as the numerator, you should get that to be 5/12. Make sure you have all of those answers on your note sheet. On page 187, we're going to look at number 33. It says give 3 different examples of ratios that might occur in a real-world situation. At Westside, we have a 1-to-1 initiative, meaning we have one electronic device for each student, one iPad for each student at the elementary level, and one computer to one student in the upper grades, 7 through 12. That's one example of a ratio. I was just mixing some cleaner for my floor tonight, and the ratio was given on the bottle for 1 part of the solution to 5 parts of water, so the ratio was 1 to 5. And there's lots of different situations where ratios are used in real-world situations. A lot of schools like to say that their teacher-to-student ratio is 1 to 20, meaning the class sizes are small. And in the business world, there's other ratios that are being used in cooking and in all sorts of areas. So feel free to ask an adult in your life how ratios are used in their daily life and jot those down on your note sheet. Finally, on your note sheet, you have some additional ratios where you are determining if they are equivalent. Feel free to use a calculator to work those problems out, or use your mental thinking to decide whether those are similar or not, or equivalent or not. I pulled those from the algebra textbook, so that's why you're seeing a little bit more complicated numbers, but don't let that scare you. It's as simple as seeing if the first fraction or first ratio can be reduced to the second one, or vice versa. So just write yes or no in the boxes on your sheet. Don't forget to send me your quiz score, and if you have any questions, let me know.